Good evening, everybody. So, welcome to tonight's essentially test show. Picked up some new software recently. So, if you're watching this on the rebroadcast or listening to it on the podcast, let me know what you think. Just trying some different technology, and we'll kind of go from there. Tonight's show is just going to be a live Q&A, so whoever logs in, we're just going to talk about drag racing. Nothing's really off limits. For those that know, you know that I do not censor or filter myself regarding really anything. So, with that said, I wanted to try this, see how this worked. We will be having a lot more programs like this. In fact, if you've been on Facebook recently, you'll have seen that David Hillner, who also does photography, him and I will be doing a show together on a weekly basis, as well as E3xtreme's other co-creator, Ellen Eschenbacher, who, if you're in drag racing and you don't know who Ellen is, are you really in drag racing? Her and I will be doing a show. I have not forgot about Scorched. We will be continuing to do those shows. And in fact, you'll hear it here first because I have not posted about this. I will also be doing a business related show where all we do is discuss the business of motorsports, sponsorships, and things like that. All right, hold on. I am going to look through these comments. And again, if you're on the rebroadcast of this, I am not sure if you will see the comments, but I'm going to read them and we'll go from there. Greg Schmidt asks, what's your opinion on how to save RVW and other radial classes from falling off, or is it too far gone? It's really just coming right out of the gate tonight, Greg. RVW is too far gone. I mean, let's face it. You've got a bunch of pro mods that decide to play in RVW when there's not a pro mod race. I think the real test to this is going to be Shakedown weekend in September. We'll see what happens there. Whether cars will come and play in Pro Mod or whether they'll go over to Steel and race in Donald's Point Series. I think it also depends on where you are in points. Like Jason Lee and Paulo. You know, those guys that are 1, 2, 3. They're probably going to have to go to Steel to race those events. I'm not sure if you're able to drop an event or anything like that. As far as the other classes, I had a long discussion with somebody in LDR recently that is not happy with the rule change that happened in LDR regarding nitrous combos, because it was an across the board nitrous combo weight. They added 100 pounds to the nitrous combos. Now, here's the problem with that. You essentially added 100 pounds, whether you're running a 903 with 959 heads or whatever it may be, or a 760 whatever it may be. So to blanket rules in something like LDR is, it wasn't a good thing. Again, my opinion, I'm not the one that makes the rules, but I don't think you can blanket, just like you can't blanket Pro Charger rules. That's been another issue across the board, whether you're running a Hemi Pro Charge setup or a conventional headed Pro Charge setup. They need to be at two different weights. You cannot combine or, kind of lump them in together. That's absolutely ridiculous. As far as the other class, X is going to be X. I have kind of come to terms with the fact that X is just going to be X. It is what it is. Ultra, holy shit, I have not seen that many people cry and complain about something in a long time. And I understand everybody works on their program. Everybody works hard on their program. Everybody spends money on their program. Just go race. I mean, You guys who are crying and bitching and moaning in ultra, just shut up and go out there and race or stay home. I mean, I look on Facebook and oh my, it's mind-boggling that the amount of people, a lot of which are my friends, and the accusations that get thrown around are asinine as well. The only class I didn't touch on is Pro 275. Um, Eddie, you probably can. Eddie asked if we could curse. Obviously, I'm going to. But don't forget, Eddie, the powers that be very well may be watching. So you do whatever you want at your own risk. Um, Pro 275, God, I hope they. I think it'll stay strong as long as it stays upper 60s, lower 70s, but I guess we'll see in the fall. I mean, you're not going to see anything great. Bias ply racing, less track prep. Yeah, Lyle makes a very good point. Listen, I think radial is starting to become a niche market because people are sick of the radial prep. They're sick of the downtime that's involved in it. Obviously, you guys know I travel to a lot of events. I do radial stuff. I do pro mod stuff. The innate amount of time that we are down to prep for radials it's annoying from a driver's perspective, a racer's perspective, media's perspective. There's a lot of there's just entirely too much damn downtime, and we're not going to get fans to pack stands and stay there if, every 5-6 passes we're spending another 20 minutes spraying and dragging the track. Michael Miranda asked what I thought about Manny entering NPK. I'm not surprised because I knew a while back that there was kind of a plan for that. Before some other shit happened. And then whatever happened in the radial world at Steel, again, I've addressed this before, but whatever happened at Steel, that's between him and Donald. But it's good to see him out there. I mean, let's face it, Manny is one of the best small tire racers, and, well, you don't see him race much on, if at all, on big tires. But small tire racer... Listen, people don't understand. Manny's been around for like 20 years. I mean, this guy can drive anything with 4 wheels and a steering wheel. And he's successful at it, puts a lot of money into his program, puts a lot of, time and effort into his program, surrounds himself with the right people to make it successful. So not only am I not surprised that he's trying his hand at no prep, I'm not surprised that I believe he won the Futures whatever that is, over at NPK last weekend at Maple Grove. So I'm not at all surprised in regards to that. Lyle says that can't race when the sun is up, can't race when the dew sets in. Yeah, you can race on radials when the sun is up, but apparently tuning for the conditions that you're given instead of just expecting the grip meter to pull 500 is a whole different story. And I'm not even going to get into it's not a tuner thing. It's not a driver thing. The expectations have been set so high in radial racing regarding records and ETs that I swear fans don't give a shit if they say good side-by-side racing. They just want to see somebody fly through the air or set a new record. So that's super annoying too. I mean, you can race during the daytime. Just don't set the damn thing on kill. It's pretty simple. The prep is still there, but it's probably going to be greasy as shit. So guess what? Turn it down a little bit and go A to B. Some people can send it during the day and some people can't. I don't know. But it's not fun to watch. Listen, watching radial cars run during the day when everybody is set on kill and thinks that they need to shoot for the moon in the middle of the day is asinine. Because as a photographer and a spectator, because let's not forget, I'm watching while I'm photographing as well. That's boring as shit. Because all you're doing is watching burnouts. You watch a burnout, you watch them back up, you watch them stage, they hit the fucking tires. What the hell is the point? Oh, great. You will see a lot of photographers leave the wall as soon as that starts to happen, because we all know maybe 1 in 15 cars are going to get down the track. It's a complete fucking waste of time. Robert Richards, PDRA Super Street is growing by the day. I agree. I think that that type of racing, small tire racing, 28-10-5 stuff, or Outlaw 10-5 style racing with the 33-10-5, the 28-10-5. I think all of that's going to make a comeback because, like Lyle said, you can race that shit during the day. You don't have to wait until prime, optimal, the sun is at 48 degrees over the horizon and the dew point is 30 above the, whatever. It just, all of these ridiculous bullshit things that you need in place to make radials just fly. Yeah, you can run good, solid numbers on a slick tire in the middle of the day. It's not a dig on radial, guys. I love radial racing. I love watching radial racing. A lot of my photography career started in radial racing. But holy shit, does watching a tractor drive up and down the track get real boring real quick. Especially when you're out there 12 or 15 hours a day working. And I feel even worse for the drivers who, build these $150,000, $200,000 cars. They go out there, they do a burnout, they stage, and guess what? It just goes straight up in tire smoke. So, let's see. I'm just going through the comments here. So if you're watching the replay, I definitely appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you like what we're doing over here. Okay, Eric Moore. I'm going to fanboy this comment. This is probably my favorite comment of the night. Eric Moore says, Coyote stock at NMRA NMCA was badass to watch, wheelie banging gears. As some of you may know, I, at one time, years ago, 2012, 2013-ish, I was in the process of building a Coyote stock car. I was around when the very first meetings happened to create Coyote stock. 2010 in Bradenton, Florida, when Ken and Tim Matherly and others had first discussed this class. And I've told people, if I ever go racing again, I will probably build an index car, but it will have a Coyote motor in it. Just so I can bumper drag the shit out of it for 150 feet and run 6.0s in the 8th mile, whatever. But the entertainment value in NMRA Coyote stock, in my mind, it's one of the most entertaining classes in all of drag racing, and it's too bad that that association has their head so far up their ass regarding media and other things that nobody really, those guys get no real love because nobody is there covering those races, and there certainly the hell aren't any fans there. So, but that's neither here nor there. Going A to B in the heat. Yeah, going a lot of Coyote stock is definitely it's I love it. I truly do. For those of you that don't know what Coyote stock is, and I think we're up to the Coyote, the 3rd generation Coyote engine. Essentially, it's a sealed motor from Ford, and you throw, well, I think everybody in the class is running a G-Force now. I don't think anybody is running a T5 anymore. I think we ran out of parts on all those. You're running a G-Force transmission, probably 5th gear remove, but you're banging gears, you're dragging the bumper for 150 feet, and it's entertaining to watch. And these guys are running, I think they're in the 960s, 970s. There's a broad ET on where they're at, but if you want entertainment and you want skilled shit, that's the class to watch. And again, it just really sucks that they don't get the love that they need because of the way that organization handles things. Let's see what Steve had to say here. That's why I'm an NT fan. Who cares about a time when you have good side-by-side action? Well, I'm going to argue with you there, Steve. His comment was, this is why he's a no time fan, because who cares about a time when you have good side-by-side action? So, as somebody who's been around for entirely too fucking long, 30 plus years, whether it's a fan, spectator, whatever it may be, I like seeing the boards lit. I'm not a fan of not seeing times on the board. I want to know how close the race was. Like in Pro Mod, I want to see those hole shot wins. The crowd goes absolutely batshit at a Pro Mod race when somebody gets hole shotted. And for those who don't know what a hole shot is, or you're new to the show, that means the person in one lane ran a quicker elapsed time than the other lane, but the other lane got to the finish line first. Normally it's because you were sleeping on the tree. Your reaction time was probably terrible, and they just drove right past you. Or in David Farlow's case, at World Cup, I think it was last year, where he blew the tires off at the hit, and that Honda or whatever the hell it was out to the 330 or damn near the 660, and David Farlow came by in his four-eyed Mustang and just freight trained him right to the top end. That stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. No time has its place. I'm not a huge fan of not seeing the boards. I mean, yes, I know how fast most of these cars are going, because I'm either friends with a lot of them, or you just spend as much time as I do on the wall at a racetrack, and you have a pretty good idea of what these cars are running. With that said, I like to see boards lit, and so do a lot of other people. But I get why they don't. It used to be that you couldn't go to certain grudge races if you had lit the boards within 12 calendar months or whatever. Some of that has gone away. Some of it's coming back. We'll see how that pans out. So from that perspective, I get it as far as getting grudge races. You don't see as many big money grudge races nowadays. I know Mike Hill still puts on some amazing races. Excuse me. They just had him and Bobby Cole just had their race in Memphis. I think Saturday got rained out, but Friday was good. Not seeing any more comments, guys. I really hope I didn't get shut off on Facebook. Anybody got any questions they want to ask? I should probably check if I got shut off on Facebook, eh? Because that would just really suck. And knowing my luck, I probably did. So, bear with me a second. I'm just, I'm seeing what's going on here because, well, it appears that I am still live on Facebook, just nobody's commenting. Oh, okay, I'm still good. Well, that's always good to know. So, it's still working. Excellent. Still good. So since nobody has any questions, no question, no time. Let's talk about, speak of no time, let's, offered 100 and couldn't get a good car count. Why is that? Hold on, I want to address this one, so bear with me a second. Monty Fitzgerald said, no, you didn't get shut off. I offered 140K in payouts and couldn't get a good car count. Why is that? There's numerous reasons that could have happened. Depends on where it was, what track it was at, how well it was promoted, what the classes were. Were they all guaranteed money, or were they based on certain, a certain amount of cars being in each field? I can't answer that without knowing all the specifics in regards to it. That's a lot of money. So it all depends on what track it was at. Listen, there are tracks nowadays. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I hate to say this, Monty. That's the problem. We live in a time and day now. Everything has got to be guaranteed money. You're basing it on a 16 car field, and some of your drivers don't know who's going to show up, so they don't want to risk it. Um, and I just this has been going on for a while, and it sucks because it affects promoters like you, on the up and up promoters who will pay out. The problem is if you don't guarantee the money on your flyers, if it doesn't say guaranteed, no matter what the car counts, people just won't show up anymore because there's been too much purse cutting and bullshit in the past that, yeah, in bracket racing's a little bit different though. Joe says it's the same way in bracket racing. Well, it is and it isn't, because bracket racing, you've got buybacks and you've got a lot of other things that go into it. Bracket racers are going to show up no matter what. Show up anymore. I paid $25,000 to win 12 and 5 first. Yeah, exactly, Monty. I don't know. That what track was this going to be at? Because I know there are some racers that just won't go to certain tracks too. And who was doing the prep, or was it a no prep? I guess, give me some details on that. Eric Holiday, what is going to be the biggest event of 2022? And Monty, I'll get back to you in just a minute. I did see your comment. The biggest event of 2022. Yellow Bullet is always huge. I mean, Yellow Bullet is Yellow Bullet. Shakedown is Shakedown. The only problem I see now is that Race at Steel, the same weekend as Shakedown. Snowbirds is going to be huge. I will tell you guys right now, if you're not at Snowbirds and you are a Pro Mod fan, you are missing out. That event is going to be massive. I will tell you, though, another event that you do not want to miss, and there will be a lot more information coming out the next day or two in regards to this, is going to be the Midwest Drag Racing Series event at St. Louis in, I don't know, like 3 weeks. I don't remember the exact date, but the Midwest race in St. Louis, that's going to be worth being there for. I will tell you that much. But Snowbirds, I won't go to World Cup. Eric said World Cup. I won't go to World Cup anymore. Their media, the way that they do media is absolute fucking bullshit. I will not go. That's why you do not see me go up to that event anymore. I love the fan participation as far as the energy at World Cup. I do not like the bullshit in regards to the media. And I will always tell people, if I think that the media agreements and the way that media is run is bullshit, I won't go. Plain and simple. And Monty, I think a lot of yours, Monty's race was at Sacramento Raceway. I don't know enough about the West Coast, as far as what you're going to pull in on the West Coast, but I know that it's been difficult, to get anything really. I know that Bodie had problems, and I think a lot of people are just having problems on the West Coast right now, unfortunately. Oh, the best racing movie ever. Jameson Rabbit. Jameson and I have known each other for like 30 years. The best racing movie ever? Honestly, I would probably say Ford versus Ferrari. There aren't any great drag racing movies. Ford versus Ferrari is just freaking. I love that movie. Now, if we're just talking, movies about cars, there's a whole bunch of great movies. But if we're talking like a racing movie, Matt Damon did a great job in that movie. So Ford versus Ferrari by far. Yeah, Norwalk. Joe said Norwalk next weekend. That's where I will actually be. I will be in Norwalk for PDRA next weekend. And then turn around and go home, and then fly out to go to the Midwest race at Great Bend Dragway in Great Bend, Kansas. A historic track, absolutely. It's a beautiful facility. It's just, and it's such a historic track. First ever NHRA nationals ever was held at Great Bend. It's just a great facility, great people. I really look forward to that. It should be a great event. They've got their local bracket racing stuff, and then all of Midwest drag racing at Midwest. But yes, PDRA will be PDRA next week will be insane. Somebody said the single thing that's bad about Norwalk is the stands are so huge. It's hard to fill. Yeah, I agree. Joliet was like that. St. Louis is like that. A lot of the big Midwest tracks are like that. It is hard to fill the grandstands because they will hold tens of thousands of people. And I hate to say this, but unless it's NPK or maybe a couple other events, you're not really going to fill the stands. And if it's NPK, you're pretty much filling them with people who are more interested in the TV portion of it than the drag racing portion of it. Yeah, Norwalk is huge. Yeah, Night Under Fire is huge. So, Steven Stroud. I mentioned NPK, and I'm just scrolling through the comments if you're on the if you're watching this after the fact. I'm just scrolling through the comments to see what people have said. But Steven Stroud said NPK and used the not so happy vomiting emojis in regards to it. Each to their own. Is it my cup of tea? Probably not. I mean, I'm not going to go to an NPK race. I'm not going to photograph an NPK race because it's TV show. It's not a race. It's a TV show about racing. So there's that. But it is very important to the general motorsports community that we have something like NPK. It has done very well for our community over the last however many years. I think they're in season 5 now. This is my cup of water. I've been trying to drink more water. My AC doesn't work upstairs. There's a leak somewhere. So if you're wondering why I'm drinking out of a giant carnival looking cup, it's because I'm drinking water. I think it's like 85 degrees up here and I've got lights on me. Oh, here's an interesting question that Matt brings up. How do you think car count will be affected overall due to sky-high diesel prices? I think that there will be certain events that suffer. I do think that I think those will be the smaller events. I do not think events like Yellow Bullet, PDRA, Midwest Drag Racing Series, No Prep Kings, I don't think that those events will suffer all that much. Yeah, you may get a driver here or there that doesn't go, but overall, I don't think that it's going to be something that, I don't think it's something that is going to dramatically hurt the industry in the 2022 season. 2023 is going to be a different story. Okay, I think it's pronounced Brian. I apologize if it's Byron. I think it's Brian. NPK brought new fans to the sport and is saving tracks. That's a fucking load of shit. I'm going to tell you like it is. Did it save tracks? The appearance fees may have saved a couple of smaller tracks. The NPK didn't save any tracks that were already going to be gone anyways. I mean, if that were true, Palm Beach wouldn't have sold. Because they were at Palm Beach I don't know how many times, and that place is still going to be gone. Did it bring more fans in? Well, I don't know. Did it bring... Here's the deal. Did it... Okay, I apologize. It is Brian. Did it bring more fans in? It brought TV fans in? Did it bring drag racing fans? I don't know. I think, listen, if we could figure out how to convert No Prep Kings fans into legitimate drag racing fans, where these fans came out and watched other forms of drag racing and supported their local tracks, then maybe you could get with me on that one. But right now, I think that is an overused line of bullshit. I think it helped the parts community and the manufacturers, that's for damn sure. And I do think that it helped, I think it helped some of the smaller tracks with getting getting people through the gates at their smaller tracks when we're talking about you know, just entrance type of stuff. Because I've seen even at my local track how many people show up when some of the NPK. And you guys, don't get it twisted. I am friends with a lot of the guys that run on NPK. I have stayed at people's houses, I have broken bread with, and I have been friends with some of these people for years. So don't think that I am just NPK bashing. I think people dramatically overstate the importance sometimes. Do I think that they are important to our industry? Absolutely. Do I think that they reinvigorated the industry from an entertainment perspective? Yes, because promoters, and I'm not talking about like a Monty or a Donald or a Tyler or a Mike Hill or, you know, anybody like that. I'm talking about like your local hometown promoters. Apparently still thought it was 1992 and they just don't give a shit. So the simple fact is most tracks still make their money on bracket races. It is what it is. But NPK they brought eyeballs. Don't get me wrong. People watch this shit on TV. They sell the shit out of merch and all that. But, to say that they've saved tracks and stuff like that, I won't go that far. And now if there are some track owners in here that want to say, hey, my track got saved because I brought in these people. But the races that NPK has gone to, the NPK race had the third most fan count. And yet the track still closed, Matt. Matt said the NPK race at Palm Beach had the third most fan count in the last 20 years. And yet that track is closing. Okay, here's another one. TV is not good for the industry. That's a fucking asinine comment. And I'll tell you why. Because the society that we live in nowadays, video and television and streaming is so much more important to the industry than it ever has been. Attention span very short among some people. So TV, very good for the industry. Drama, it is the world that we live in. I mean, fuck, look at the Kardashians, for God's sakes. Look at how many people are watching this Johnny Depp, Amanda, or Amber Heard trial. It's long been said, there is no bad publicity. Good publicity, as long as somebody's talking about you, it's good. And obviously, we're talking about NPK, so they're doing something right. Again, I'm not against NPK. I am against the over use of how they're like the ultimate fucking saviors in drag racing. They're not. NPK isn't like the savior that we absolutely had to have drag racing continue. Is it good though? Yeah, it's good. But let's not over fucking state it. I mean, let's slow our roll on the overstatement of how important they are. Because the fact of the matter is, while yes, they bring in a huge amount of money, a huge amount of fans, everybody is talking about them during their entire, I don't know, 18 race season? I don't even know how long their race season is. I'd have to look. I thought it was 13 or 14, 18 maybe. I don't know. But even me, I'll make phone calls during the weekend or I'll get messages about what's going on at an event. I'm not going to go to an event. I won't give Pilgrim my money. I don't watch any of the shows, but I'm still a journalist in drag racing, and they are still drag racing. Now, given it's a TV show, the racing is not scripted, it's not pre-planned. And no matter how many people want to believe that bullshit, because if it was, those drag racers wouldn't be there, because drag racers are drag racers, and they're certainly not the fuck going to tell anybody or let anybody tell them who they're going to win and lose to. So let's get that out of the way, because that's a crock of shit too. The people who believe that shit should just fucking turn off their TV. Do I have... Oh, here's another question. Oh, hold on. Any thoughts on the Mills Musee throwdown at NPK? For those of you that don't know, there was a scuffle, kerpuffle, if you will, in the staging lanes at NPK after Justin's crash. Between Dwayne Mills, Pat Musee, some Pat's guys, I guess. Again, wasn't there. Did get a phone call about it. I mean, if you saw my post last week or earlier this week, I guess it must have been because it was after the event. I don't know why anybody's surprised. NHRA doesn't show pro mods for a reason. I don't know anybody's surprised about the scuffle, if you will. Shit's been happening since the beginning of drag racing. Why are any of you surprised that two guys that are very, very passionate and will not put up with any bullshit got into a scuffle? It's not the first time that this kind of shit has happened. It won't be the last time. It'll probably be on TV. It'll make for great TV. People will watch it. People will talk about it forever. It's fine. It is what it is. I mean, back in the 90s, we didn't have to worry about it because there wasn't any fucking internet and everybody with their goddamn phones all over the place feeling like they had to film every single thing that was happening. But again, it's a TV show. You're not going to NPK because it's a sanctioned, drag race with some specific sanctioning body. You're going because they're filming a television show. That's why there's no media credentials. That's why there's no photographers on the wall. It's a TV show. People really need to get that through their heads. The amount of comments that I read every week in regards to this and going on, and I just laugh about it like, are you stupid? Like, it's a TV show. The Kardashians, a TV show. That's not taken away from the drivers. The drivers are the drivers. Listen, Ryan Martin, Mike Murillo, Scott Taylor, Brooders, the list goes, Kai Kelly, Lizzie Musey, the list goes on and on and on. Jim Howe. These are true drag racers. These aren't just TV actors. These are true drag racers that go out there, bust their ass, and try to win. If you look at everything that Justin Swanstrom and Corey Swanstrom and that whole team went through over the last 6 or 7 days, from the time that he crashed, and I watched Big Country's live this morning, Justin insisted on staying for Saturday so that he could interact with his fans and, do. And to me, that is about as fucking stand-up as stand-up gets, because I see a lot of NHRA prima donnas who certainly the fuck won't do that. So my hat's off to Justin. I've known Justin a long time. Him and his dad and his mom are great people. And then they turned around, drove all the way back to Florida, and thrashed on the car, thrashed on the chassis. And last I saw, which was probably 8 or 9 hours ago, they were loading this shit up to head to New Hampshire today. So they literally went from Maple Grove, PA, down to Florida. Now they're trying to get back up to New Hampshire to make it for this weekend's no prep race. Kudos, hats off to them for having the intestinal fortitude and the will to do that. That is huge. And that brings me to another point. I saw, and I'm not even going to touch that, because then people will get all up in their feelings, about this new generation being lazy or whatever, and I have my thoughts on that I'll save for another day. I do not want to show somebody pushing another person. It's not good for the series. Okay, this one right here, and I'm assuming I know who it is. It just shows up as Facebook user though. I do not want somebody. I do not want to show somebody pushing another person. It's not good for a series, in my opinion. And that is the difference. I completely agree with her. If this is who I think it is, I think this is Ellen. And if it is, I completely agree with her. Terrible for a series. But that's the difference. Why do they all show? Only yours shows just Facebook user for some reason. I'm not sure why. Everybody else's shows exactly who their name is. So going back up to this, you don't want it in a series. It's not good for the series. I agree. Not good for the series, but that is the difference between a series and a television show. The television show does not have a sanctioning body. They're not the NHRA. They are not PDRA. They're not Midwest, NMCA, NMRA, Northeast Outlaw Pro Mods. Da-da-da-da-da. They are a television show. And for them, that is part of their shtick. Their niche is to have that drama. We all watch television shows that revolve around drama and added drama or whatever it is. So here's the thing, though. We don't need that in regular drag racing. Yeah, it's always good to see, an argument or somebody or drivers talking shit, whatever it is. I mean, we used to see that between Pat Musee and Tony in Pro Street way back in the day. It's no offense, it's kind of pathetic that NHRA seems to have any beefs anywhere, because they have become so corporate. NASCAR the same way, unless you get somebody who just loses their shit. Nobody has the balls to get pissy anymore. They all want to shake hands and hug it out. Like, do you really think Bob Glidden was shaking hands and hugging it out at the top end when he was in his heyday in Pro Stock? I love Ricky Smith to death. I don't think Ricky Smith is going to hug it out with the Turbo and the Pro Charger guys in Pro Mod most of the time. I'm just saying. So to have beefs or, rivalries, if you will. Rivalries are important in any sport. But there's that line when you are in a professional atmosphere. When you are on a television show, that line gets very fucking blurry. But, like Ellen said, each to their own. Again, I don't go to NPK races. I don't have a problem with people who do. I wish their fan base was a little bit more educated about drag racing. And based on what I've seen on social media, that doesn't appear to be the case most of the time. I use the phrase lowest common denominator a lot when it comes to describing some of the fans. Some. I don't need all the hate mail. Not that I give a fuck if I get it. What I'm saying, some of the fan base from NPK, lowest common denominator. And there's no effort made to actually educate or be educated about the sport itself. So that's where that whole, they brought fans in and all of this other shit. They brought TV fans along. People who like to watch TV that don't care nearly as much about the drag racing, but they want to get selfies with the guy on TV or the girl on TV. It is what it is. So, take that for what you will. Matt brings up a very good point. Watch NHRA TV on Roku, which I do have Roku. Personalities were huge. I mean, there was a lot of shit talking back in the day. Um, we don't see that nearly as much anymore because everybody wants warm, soft kitty and fuzzy, warm kittens and rainbows bullshit and wants to treat drag racing with their rose-colored glasses like everything is perfectly fine all of the time. It's a load of shit that you've been fed by certain people in drag racing that everything is just stupendous all the time. It's not. The amount of shit that you guys don't see behind the scenes on so much of this, that even the same people pushing this rose colored glasses bullshit, um, I mean, that's the difference, I guess, between me and them. Is I'm not always going to look at it from oh, happy go lucky, yeah, everything is super, and it's great that we had 15 pro mods at whatever the fuck the last NHRA race was, where Virginia. Like 15 pro mods? Are you fucking kidding me? On the East Coast, Virginia and Charlotte. 15 pro mods. Are you fucking kidding me? On what planet is that a good thing? Oh shit. But I'm saying, seriously, you cannot justify saying that class is healthy when a couple of years ago we were, 24, 25 pro mods, and you actually had to get into the field. Now, essentially, it's like, oh, you show up and you're in? What the hell is going on over there? NHRA is I need to dedicate an hour just to my disdain for the Donald Trumpy-ism on how they handle media as well. Because apparently, if you don't stroke their ego and kiss their ass, they don't want you there. What did Matt say? When Bodie Jr. tossed his helmet, I loved it. I love the fact they showed true emotion. And I'm sure he got in trouble for it. But it was pretty fucking sporty. Because we need things like that in our sport. It generates emotion. It gets you invested in drivers. Oh, oh, I will, Eric. It gets you invested. You have to, in the 80s and the 90s, take NASCAR, for example. You were invested in your driver. Like, you pulled your RV up, you parked, you put your flag up for your driver, and if the person next to you, let's say you don't park a Jeff Gordon fan next to a Dale Earnhardt fan because they're fixing to whoop each other's asses. You just don't do it. We don't have anything like that in drag racing. I mean, honestly, No Prep Kings is the closest thing where people will legit go to blows over their drivers, which I think is great because it shows the passion that they have and the lack of... I'm going to try to be really... Okay. I'm going to reel it back in so I don't go too far off topic here about... Need more Stevie Fast in NHRA. I'm going to say something that's really going to piss some people off. We need old Stevie Fast back in NHRA. The Stevie Fast that wasn't so damn worried about making YouTube videos and was worried about winning races. And wasn't so politically correct all the damn time. I want to see the old Stevie back in NHRA and every other form of racing. Because I think that Stevie is so good for the sport and such a good driver. But whatever this bullshit is that's going on right now with, and I know sometimes you have to appease sponsors, but geez, this is bullshit. We need the old Stevie back, not the corporate NASCAR Stevie, not the I want as many YouTube viewers as Cletus Stevie. Sorry, don't give a shit about your truck, Stevie. I want to see you win pro mod races again. I would love to see you like have another car and go grudge racing again, and get into the shit talking and stuff like that. PC Stevie's, I mean, he is what he is. He's more talented of a driver than I will ever be, and probably more relevant in drag racing than I will ever be. But I would much rather have the old Stevie back. I liked him a lot more than the version that we get now. It's my opinion. And I don't really give a shit if you like it or not. Yeah, old Stevie, not the oh my god, I gotta put up some YouTube videos, Stevie. No, you gotta fucking win races is what you need to do. Focus on winning races, not YouTube bullshit. Everybody thinks that you need this huge YouTube presence and all this and that to get sponsors nowadays. Well, yes, you do need a social media presence, somewhat. It definitely helps to fund your program. But your program should still be the focus, not your social media. Look at Justin Swanstrom. Justin Swanstrom has done a great job at building his presence on social media while at the same time being relevant in drag racing and being competitive. I'm not saying Stevie's not competitive, but let's face it. Chris, we'll talk next weekend. And actually, that is going to be a... Hold on, I'm going to put this one on the screen. Chris Garner Jones, who is probably one of the best bike racers in all of drag racing, and just an absolutely amazing individual and human being. He asks, so how do I get sponsors? I can't get any. Chris, I'm going to have you on one of my shows. I am going to be launching a show where we just talk about the business of motorsports and drag racing and things like that. So we will talk about that, and hopefully I can give you some advice in regards to that, and start moving forward for, I don't know, the 2023 season, really. Because right now, well, it's all right. But you definitely want to start, if you haven't already given thought to your 2023 proposals, you need to start doing that now. Hi, Joe. I'm not going to lick the mic itself. I don't want to get electrocuted, Joe. Okay, this person says, you have to build your brand. What makes you different? Create social... I'm assuming that's Ellen again. I don't know why her stuff is showing up as social media or Facebook user, but she's 100% right. You have to create social media channels for your race team. And you have to be consistent about it. It's a pain in the ass. Sometimes it can be a full-time job, but you have to do it. Listen, in my opinion, and I don't want to get off topic because, again, that's for the business show. And I apologize if this is a little shaky for you guys watching the replay or even watching live now. I've got this new webcam actually on top of the computer because I didn't bring the tripod upstairs. So next time it'll be on a tripod. It won't be as shaky for the rest of the shows. Social media. Video. Photo. Tell stories. Put videos up there that are interesting. Do things that engage your audience and make them feel a connection with you. And again, I already know who this is. And she's logging off because she needs to get some rest. This is going to be one of those that her and I are going to address. For those of you that don't know or are watching the rebroadcast of this, Ellen, who is my business partner at E3xtreme, and I will be launching our own show, and I think our first episode will actually be next week. This is going to be a question that I will address with her on our show because we have very, very differing views about this, and I think this is complete bullshit. And we're not going to argue about it, but we will definitely have a discussion. And I respect her point of view. She respects mine. We certainly do not see eye to eye on a lot of things in regards to that. And it just so you that are listening to the podcast understand, it says, sadly, your team pages, you need to be moderately PC. I disagree with that. We will discuss that on next week's show, on the show that features her and I. And Steve brought up a very good point. Justin isn't very PC, and it's refreshing. People don't want fake. People don't. People want real. Listen, if I go and do a commercial and tell you, hey, you should buy this diet soda. I am 6'1", 350 pounds of pure pink sexiness. You know what people aren't going to believe? That I fucking drink diet soda. Like, come on. Let's get a grip here. I mean, we need real, and yeah. What does Joe say here? Joe, who, I thought I had one of Joe's decals on the table. By the way, Joe, your decal is on my Pelican case that travels all the way, all over the place, because that's my check bag, so DCF. I can speak on a little what companies are looking for, even though I'm small time, especially for small time. When we get asked to sponsor, have an actual proposal that tells said company what they can benefit. And Joe is another one that is a smart businessman that I don't always agree with. But we have had a lot of business related discussions, and we definitely respect each other's opinions in regards to things. And he's right to a certain extent. And this is one of those, I will have Joe on our business show because I think his input is very valuable in regards to business as a whole, not just in motorsports, but business as a whole. But I also think that there's entirely too many business owners that have no idea what the hell branding is for their company. They have absolutely no idea. They think branding and marketing are the same thing. They think that getting their name out there is the same as selling parts, and it's not. But I also think that Joe understands that too. I don't take, for example, the work that I do, and obviously you guys can see at the bottom of the screen whether you're watching this live or the rebroadcast. And if you're on the podcast, obviously everything that I do in regards to the videos, things like that, everything is brought to you because of Menser Motorsports, Garrett Turbos, Garrett Advancing Motion, and Classic Graphics. Those three companies have stood by Ellen and I for years. And you will always see their logos on all the content that I create. That is branding. Bringing awareness to said company. Some people call it sponsorship. Some people are very confused about the difference between spending money on branding, spending money on marketing, spending money in sponsorship dollars, whatever it may be, because they get kind of all lumped in together, and they shouldn't. And Steve asked, when is the business show? Honestly, whenever I get the energy to do it. And those are things that I will pre-record and go live about, because some of the things are not going to be things that people want to just hang out and listen to live. Sometimes I will record interviews and they will get posted on Facebook and YouTube. And sometimes we'll do a live show so that we can do a Q&A with it. But it is something that will be coming very soon, I promise. Alan Feltz. Alan is a good friend of mine from Kentucky, races X275 radial racing. Why race when there's no safety crew actually at the track? Alan, you should be glad that you asked this after Ellen logged off, because she will go batshit about this. And I completely agree with her. The responsibility as a driver falls on you to stop assuming that the track has your best interest and your safety in mind. They don't. Well, not all of them. Some of them do. Some of them do give a shit. Some of them just want to do things as cheap as possible. Listen, and some areas, based on insurance or local regulations, whatever, sometimes they're not allowed to have an ambulance on site. It just all depends on what the regulations are. But if you are worried about it, you should be asking them, is there safety here? Is there a fire truck? Is there an EMT, EMS? Can they get me out of a car if I get into an accident? Do they know this? Do they know that? If you have concerns, listen, nobody's telling you got to race. Pack your shit up and go home. If you think your life, which it is worth more than the couple $1,000s that you may make at a race, take your ass home. If you do not feel comfortable making a pass down that track because it's the track prep isn't there, or it's dewy, or whatever else, don't run. It is your choice to get in that car and drive it down the racetrack. With the exception of NPK, which is a television show, so I'm assuming there's contractual obligations. If you are running in a series and you do not feel comfortable with anything, safety, track, surface, dew, seeping, whatever it may be, pack your shit up. Yeah, it sucks. Or go talk to the track manager, the track owner, the race director. Come to an agreement. Listen, it's getting dewy. We don't feel safe. Talk to your competitors, because chances are they feel the same way. If you don't feel safe, get together and say, hey, we're either going to run this shit tomorrow or we're going to run it at the next race, because we're not running it tonight. It's just not safe enough. There have been times where I have begged friends of mine who drive cars not to send it down the racetrack, because I didn't trust the track surface, or there was dew, or whatever it was, or even just bad juju. I didn't trust it, and I begged them not to run the car. And there have been times that they've listened. There are times that they haven't. So, I mean, that still comes down to driver responsibility as well, though. And no, it's not a full gallon cup. I think it's like, I don't even think it's a half gallon. 32 ounces, 40 ounces, I don't know, but I'm back to trying to drink a gallon of water a day because, well, I'm fat. So, got a good amount of viewers on here. Does anybody have any other questions? Or we can check out for the night. I do really, really appreciate everybody coming in tonight and participating, because I think it's important. This is the first really live Q&A. It's the first live Q&A I'm doing with the new live streaming software. I hope the audio was good. I hope the visual looks good. Bullhorns or zoomies? I'm not a tuner. Robert Richard asked this. Bullhorns or zoomies? Depends. Turbo cars, I think bullhorns are, kind of the norm. Everything else, there's a reason that people have gone to zoomies. And if you ask tuners, there's an advantage to going to zoomies. And the fact is, No matter how much I really prefer bullhorns on nitrous cars, if it's going to go faster with zoomies, then their objective is to win. It's not to appease me as a photographer. It is to win the race. And that's really what matters. This is one question, unfortunately, that I will not address, Bobby. Um, I have had too many issues in the past discussing um, that particular sanctioning body, so I will not address anything in regards to them. Sorry, it's just I'm too many headaches in the past. But again, I have to spend a moment and thank Menser Motorsports, Garrett Advancing Motion, and Classic Graphics. Without them, I'm going back to a 9-to-5 job. I mean, it's that simple. And the fact is, if any of you, are interested in having your name on this or any of our other coverage that we do, photography-wise, things like that, let me know. I'm always willing to talk business with people. As you can see in the background, if you're listening, obviously you can't see. If you're watching the rebroadcast, thank you. I appreciate it. If you like it, do me a favor and hit that subscribe and notifications button. A Nitrous Outlet. Nitrous Outlet is a great branding partner of ours. Dave Vassar and Rudy and everybody over at Nitrous Outlet have been coming on for the last couple of years as coverage partners for certain races. I think they're great. David Vassar is just an excellent human being, so thank you to them. And again, Menser, Garrett, and Classic. Scott Bathurst over at Classic is simply amazing. He's does all the E3xtreme apparel, and God knows he does like so many others too, and just does great. Cliff Hall asks, thoughts on NHRA Pro Mod weight change today? So for those of you that don't know, NHRA added 40 pounds on the Pro Charger combos and took some weight off the turbo combos. Who the fuck runs a turbo combo right now in NHRA besides Lyle? Can somebody tell me that? I couldn't think of anyone off the top of my head at this point that's even still running a turbo combo in NHRA. And I don't know how late. I don't know how I don't know how light they think that they can get the fucking turbo cars. Like, you can only get a damn car so light. What I want to know is, I didn't see him do shit with the nitrous rules. And we have about as many nitrous racers as we do have turbo racers. Last I checked, I think Chad Green and Ricky Smith are the only ones still running nitrous over there. And I think Lyle is the only one running a turbo combo. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. Cliff, I think Lyle's setup is still a nitrous combo. I don't think that's a Pro Charged combo. I mean, NHRA is one to jump at the opportunity to fuck up a class. They've got no problem doing that. So I don't know. It's very interesting to see now that we are going into the quote unquote warm part of the season, where normally nitrous cars tend to run better anyways. It was very interesting to see them add weight to the Pro Chargers right before we get into the sticky icky of, the summer months. And again, I don't know how light they're going to be able to get these damn turbo cars to begin with. And it's not like Lyle has had performance issues. I mean, let's be fucking real here. He's won a race, didn't he? He won a race this year. I mean, he's clearly in the top 10 in points. So don't tell me that they can't be competitive. I think the screwblower thing is a joke in NHRA. I think that they thought that was going to fix all their problems, and they didn't do shit, obviously. Listen, NHRA, great sanctioning body, love nitro stuff. I still love Pro Stock. I dearly miss Pro Stock truck. Was by far my favorite class. Like Pro Stock bikes. NHRA really doesn't, in my opinion, NHRA, there's a lot of work to be done over there, and nothing will ever change under current management. And that just is what it is. It's a buddy club, a bunch of old people buddy club. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this affects the Pro Chargers in the heat. 40 pounds doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're running those cars right on the number, I mean, within a couple of numbers, based on how much fuel you lose during a run, you're running right on the edge. 40 pounds may make a difference. Pro Stock truck will never become a class again because if I remember correctly, they sued the shit out of NHRA after they got screwed. I could be wrong on that, but I think that was the case. God, I love trucks. I'd love to build or even, someday long down the road, buy an old Pro Stock truck chassis and just run bracket stuff with it because it's cool. It's a truck. Whatever. I'm a geek like that. Is what it is. I like trucks. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference because obviously I don't tune these cars. I do think it'll be interesting to see how far they fall off, if they do, with the weight and the heat. It'll be very interesting. So, that's my thoughts on that. I got time for one or two more questions. If anybody's got something they want to throw at me, throw it out there. I'll do my best. And then we're going to call it a night so that, yeah. And honestly, if any of you have feedback, whether you're watching the rebroadcast of this or watching this live, or listening to, I'm going to take the audio, I'll post it as a podcast. If you guys have feedback or anything like that, I'm always open to listen. I am not the most polished person when it comes to this. There are people that are way more polished at doing this in our industry than I am. You already know who they are. I don't need to mention them by name. Even, Chad Reynolds is way better at this than I am. I should be able to remove the audio, Robert. And Robert asked, will this be on Spotify? All the Scorched episodes are on Spotify, as a matter of fact. And I will be removing the audio, or at least attempting to. I have not used this software yet. So I will be attempting to remove the audio and post it as a standalone podcast on E3, which should then feed into Spotify. I'm not even sure what we're going to call this show yet. So, what is, Donnie McLaughlin asks, what is my favorite small town track? My favorite small town track is Byron Dragway in Byron, Illinois. I grew up I think it's 94 miles from my mom's house to the front gates at Byron. It's about the same to Great Lakes Dragway, but no. Ownership there makes that not so much of a track that I want to go to. I used to go to Byron all the time when Ron Leake owned the place and BJ was working there. Now BJ owns it. And it has always been my favorite small track, probably because I spent so much time there growing up. I haven't been there in years because I've lived down in the South now for 7.5 years. As far as my favorite right now, it would have to be Brainerd Motorsports Park here, right at the Tennessee-Georgia line. It's freaking 15 minutes from my house. The people are amazing. The food is great. Steven and Amy are amazing track owners. And, you get real food at the concession stand. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but you're essentially getting a whole damn dinner. So it's definitely worth it. So yeah. Call the show the Bleacher Box. I like that idea, Dallas. We may have to run with that. Dallas, can you message me that so that I don't forget? I mean, I can always go back through, but message me that. I like that. I think we may use that. Don't think you're getting a percentage, but I think we may use that. What do you guys think? Bleacher Box? Bleacher Box sound good? I don't think it sounds bad. Judd still has the track record. Listen, Byron just it it's such a fun track to go to. And, when they would make the hamburger or the cheeseburgers on the flat top burner right next to the concession stand, and you were literally watching them make the burgers, and they were so good. It was really, really, I really enjoyed going there. I know BJ has been trying to sell the place for a couple of years so he can spend more time with his family. Problem is, the county up there probably still hates Byron Dragway, even though they're been around forever. So, bleach me, I can see the segment now. Um, so yeah, Byron up north, and definitely Brainerd down here, right outside Chattanooga, because I go there almost anytime that I'm home. This weekend it's going to be too damn hot. If anybody asks me what I'm doing this weekend, it's probably going to be doing this, recording content, because it is too damn hot in May for me to be standing out. I think it's supposed to be like 92 degrees tomorrow or some shit. That's a hard pass for me. Not yet. I'll probably have to deal with that in a few weeks when I'm in Kansas, though. So, it is what it is. Could always be worse, right? All right, one more. Anybody got one more final question before I end tonight's show? What was that name again? The Bleacher Box. Before we close out on the Bleacher Box, I do like this Bleacher Box thing though. Can't use the chat bleachers, Matt. Matt Madsen said chat bleachers. Can't use that because I think that's part of another live feed East Coast thing. So, not going to do that. Bleacher Box sounds good, though. I like that because you got the media box that, most journalists are in. So, yeah, I kind of like that. Humboldt, Iowa, 51 is... So, Dallas. Dallas said, come with me to Humboldt, Iowa. 51 is the high for some brackets. Dallas, I grew up in Wisconsin for 38 years. There's a reason that I don't spend much time up there anymore. It's too damn cold during the winter and it's too damn hot during the summer. There's no happy medium there. I am going to photograph a show in like 4 weeks up there, though. I'm literally driving up Friday morning and driving home Sunday. So, yeah, even with the way gas prices are right now. I will be in Norwalk, I don't know, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I'm driving up there. I'm driving up there Wednesday night. I just don't know if I have to go pick up somebody from the airport on Thursday and what time they're flying in. So I don't know what time I'll be at the racetrack on Thursday, if that's what you're asking, Robert. I'll be there sometime, at some point. It's not like you can miss me. All right, guys. One more? Anybody got anything? Anybody got any last question? And if you don't, that's fine. I'm just glad that we had so much interaction tonight. That kind of made me happy. I was pleasantly surprised. Did you guys all notice that I posted a few hours ahead of time that I was going to be live tonight with the thumbnail and allowed you to set a reminder and everything? Did that help everybody? And then I think there were some more reminders like right before I went live. Was that helpful? We're just pausing just to see if anybody has any feedback in regards to that. And again, for you guys watching the rebroadcast, I definitely appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and get notifications. And Matt says he's got all the live notifications turned on for me. And if you are listening to this on your favorite podcasting service, give us a like. If you like what the content that we're putting out there, there's going to be a lot more of it. I will tell you that much. And a very broad range of stuff that we're going to talk about, including guests. We're going to have a whole show, hopefully every week, dedicated just to photography. We're going to have a whole show where Ellen and I pretty much, well, I sit here and listen to Ellen yell at me because she thinks I'm wrong. No, she won't actually do that. I'm going to do a show regarding business. And again, these aren't all going to be weekly shows. Some of them will be weekly. Obviously, some maybe bi-weekly or whatever it may be. But we are definitely going to try to continue to create great content for you guys. And I always appreciate, if you guys notice that I'm going to go live. Yes, Matt Madsen asked if we'll talk about 35 millimeter photography. We certainly will. If you guys share this stuff and things like that. Annette said she was a few minutes late. She was watching Erica and Laura Trump show. Yeah, for those that I didn't even know that was on tonight. But Erica Enders was interviewed by Laura Trump. And so, yeah, I haven't got to see any of it. I found out about this yesterday. And so I'm assuming it's probably great because Erica is... I'm going to save that conversation for another day. I love that girl. But I'm sure it was probably an amazing interview, though. But if nobody else has got anything, I think we're probably going to call it a day. Again, I appreciate everybody coming on. If you like the content, feel free to let me know. And please make sure to check out those companies that support us. Again, on the bottom of the screen right there, Menser Motorsports, Garrett Advancing Motion, some of you know better as Garrett Turbo, and Classic Graphics. If you need apparel for your race team, for your event, for anything, contact Scott over Classic Graphics. Let him know that I sent you. I appreciate it. And again, Nitrous Outlet there. Nitrous Outlet has been a supporter of E3 for a while now, too. So thank you to David Vassar and Rudy and everybody over at Nitrous Outlet. Good people over there. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. And until next time, this has been, hey, guess what? I'm going to check the name again. Because I think we are now calling this the Bleacher Box. So this has been your host, Damon Steinke, with E3xtreme for the Bleacher Box, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you, everybody.